Hi there. Today's project is going to focus on installing a new shaker motor on this new Deadpool premium pinball. So here we have the shaker motor. Just received it. Went ahead and ordered a official Stern shaker motor. There are aftermarket equivalents available as well. Just wanted to go with Stern just to be safe. And here we have the instructions. Got to take a look at the node board to see if it has the pre-installed capacitors. If not, there is a capacitor kit included in the packaging. This is a new Spike 2 system, so I'm pretty sure it has that. Here's the installation instructions. Here we have the hardware. Here's the, looks like the capacitor, screws. Here's the shaker motor itself, as well as the protective plastic enclosure or casing. Naturally, this will spin at a certain RPM and can lead to injury, so you want to make sure it's installed carefully and according to the instructions. So the game is off. We need to remove the glass and lift up the playfield and access the innards. So here's all the hardware that came with the shaker motor kit. We're not going to need this capacitor, so that's unnecessary. We've got the wire ties, we've got some washers, we've got some small screws, some longer screws, these ferrite clips, and here's the shaker motor itself. So we're going to go ahead and bring that and get it over into the cabinet. All right, next step is to open the coin door and to release the lockdown bar. Go ahead and open that. There's a latch on each side. You can basically find your instructions on how to do this online. Okay, again, make sure the machine is off. And lift this lockdown bar. Look out for the glass. It could slide out, and then we're going to go ahead and carefully remove the glass. Also want to make sure not to forget to remove the pinballs before the playfield is lifted. Another important detail is to ensure you close and lock the coin door so the table doesn't catch on it, the glass that is, it doesn't scratch or subject itself to any unnecessary stresses. Always set the glass aside on a soft surface, never set it on concrete or a hard surface, and make sure it's protected and you're mindful of its location as you're working on the table. Now, to eject the balls before you lift the play table, there's an ejector here. You can go ahead and flip it upwards and it should eject the balls into the track, and then remove them one by one. Make sure you eject the number of balls that your table contains. You're going to have to do this with a little bit of force to ensure that it gets the ball and kicks them up into the track. There we go. And repeat the process based on the number of balls. All right, with all the balls ejected and removed from the table, go ahead and close the coin door. And then you want to lift the playfield from what they call the apron here, up and back, and it will get a catch, hit a catch at the back of the table. And then you've got these rails you can grab and lift it upward and put it in the full upright position. Set it carefully up against the back box. Here we're looking inside the cabinet, and you should notice there are 4 pre-drilled holes for the purpose of the mounting of the shaker motor if you choose to add one. Taking my shaker motor here, there's a wiring harness. You want to make sure you orient this correctly. The terminals that exit the motor should be facing the back of the cabinet, and the cable tie and the cable should emerge from the right side towards the inner wall, because these cables are going to route around and out of the way of the moving mechanism, which is extremely important here. So I'm going to go ahead and situate this on the 4 holes. I'm going to get the screws lined up and use a 1/4 inch hex driver to drive them in. So I've unwound the wires here so I can get them out of my way as I screw in the shaker motor into the cabinet using the pre-drilled holes. We're going to route these over this baffle and around. There's some cable ties. We're going to connect it under and route it neatly and cleanly in the cabinet. Here are the 4 screws we're going to use. Here's the 1/4 inch hex driver here. It's going to serve the purpose. The cabinet holes are pre-drilled, and there are actually threads at the bottom that they'll bite into as you secure the motor. Alright, now you might want to remove the coin box as I've just did for ease of working here. And one easy way to do this is to drop the screws through the holes in the base of the shaker motor and then situate it so they drop basically right into the holes in the cabinet. Just want to line it up, move it around a little bit, and you might be able to get them lined up there. Oh, I got all but one. And I can use get them in there. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and tighten them down. Just make sure you're not pinching the wires in any part of this installation. I'm going to pre-tighten them all. I might not have clearance here. These are also flathead screws. I got a chunky screwdriver here, but it seems to be working for me. And then I'm going to go back around and do a final tightening of each of the 4 screws. Make sure it's relatively tight here because it will be making a lot of noise, shaking around a little bit when it's in operation. And just a final check here. Alright, now what we're going to do is we want to go ahead and install these ferrites. These are intended to reduce electrical or EMI electrical interference from the wires. And the instructions recommend to install both of them and wrap the cable around them twice as such, and then close them. There's a clipping there, and then this is going to be secured using a cable tie to this this baffle or this barrier. I'm going to do the same thing with the second of the 2 at the far end. I'm going to stretch out the cable. Okay, and put it right about here, and again wrap it around twice as such. Make sure you don't pinch the wire, and there we go. Just like that. Alright, now these ferrites are going to be secured to the back of this brace support here using these red wood screws and these cable ties. The cable ties go around them, and then the screw hole is used to secure them to the back of the brace. I don't see any pre-drilled holes in the back of the brace. I imagine these are self-tapping. With a little bit of force they can probably bite into that wood and secure them. Something else we're going to do is we're going to secure the cable emerging from the shaker motor assembly on the inside of this baffle using this cable clip, cable tie, and the one remaining silver screw. little bit of force, and it should bite into the wood. And maybe a few attempts will lead to success. Okay. Go. Up and over. All right, now we're going to go ahead and secure these. Alright, before tightening it down too much, just make sure that you have the ability to get it flushly mounted to the back of this little support beam. Again, probably use a little bit of pressure or a little bit of force to get it to bite in to the wood. This wood seems to have a laminate coating on it. Possibly could want to pre-drill as well. These red screws seem to be a little bit sharp, so again, I'm using a little bit of force. There we go. Okay, then you want to make sure you situate everything. You don't want the wires to be crimped or pinched. That should be sufficient. We always clip off the loose section. And we'll do the same on the opposite side. I might want to bring this down a little bit further, get it away from the subwoofer or the speaker to the far side of the cabinet. Okay. We also want to route these wires in the cable harness that's already pre-installed. Alright, now we're going to take the end of that blue and red wire harness, and we're going to bring it over to this node board here. We're going to include the wiring in the existing cable management. Alright, make sure there should be plenty of slack. Don't want to pull anything too tightly. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and connect that clip to the bottom right hand corner here where there's 4 pins, and the orientation here is these little knobs, or the little ridges are upward. And go ahead and carefully insert it. You don't want to bend any pins all the way until it's firmly seated. Okay. We just want to go back and just verify everything is neat and tidy. And while I have it open here, I went ahead and I adjusted the tilt bob by loosening the thumb screw, raising it up, tightening the thumb screw again. I haven't managed to trip this after multiple games, so it's probably just set too weak. And you also want to make sure that it's centered within that ring. Also, you naturally want to ensure the game is level. And now we're going to go ahead and install the protective plastic cover with the remaining 2 silver screws. You want to make sure that when you put it on here, the wiring is not crimped or bent. It also should sit within this little wood block. There we go, and make sure you line up the screw holes in the top. Now this kit here came with a couple of washers. Nowhere in the instructions did it say where the washers go. I'm going to go ahead and use them here at the top, just to improve the gripping surface here. These are 1/4 inch hex as well. They also have a flathead capability. And there's also a warning sticker that we'll place on here to keep all fingers away from the hazard. Tighten it nicely, not too tight. You don't want to crack the plastic. It is just plastic after all. And it's a protective cover or shroud for the moving parts of your shaker motor. Okay, and last touch is that warning sticker. You can go ahead and set that right on top. It can go either way. Probably set it like this. There we go. Alright, and finally we're just going to go ahead and crimp or clip or cut the ends of those cable ties. Just cut off the excess. Just make sure you're not cutting your wires. Okay, there we go. Good to go. There were a few additional cable ties included that can be used if you need to tighten down or secure any of the cables anywhere within your cabinet. Now we'll go ahead and put the cabinet together.